Did you know that on average, people will spend over 90,000 hours of their life at work? That's over 10 years straight of just working. That's a long time, especially if you hate what you're doing. So with that in mind, I decided to kick off this new mini-series over the 9 dimensions of wellness right here with career well-being. Now, this might be a term that you're not too familiar with, so this is the video for you. Right, we'll be covering what it is, why it's important, some questions to keep in mind, and then I'll give you my 2 cents there at the end about my experience with career well-being. So, grab yourself a good notepad and let's get started. So what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Monday Motivation video. I am your host, Irvin Ramirez, here with Feel Good Digital Media. I'm really excited to kick things off with career well-being because this one's the one I've reflected and really grown with the most since I started learning about the 9 dimensions of wellness last summer. You might not be too familiar with this concept, so let me give you a quick definition to kind of get you thinking in the right track as to what career well-being is. So what does career well-being mean? Well, this is the ability to pursue a fulfilling career on a variety of levels. It includes finding satisfaction and enrichment at the work you do while still being able to pursue other professional goals. So to put that even simpler, it's just having a sense of fulfillment at your place of work, being happy of where you're at and still having the ability to pursue other goals in your profession if you so choose to. So why is career well-being important? Well, like I said at the beginning, we spend over 10 years straight just working. That's a really long time of your life to be dissatisfied with what you're doing, right? I feel like a lot of people often complain about their jobs or don't like their jobs, but since it's part of their routine, they don't really ever get out of those positions, right? And I myself don't want to be in that position, and I don't want you guys to be in that position. So that's kind of why I want to expose you to this whole concept of career well-being right now. Actively reflecting on your career well-being will allow you to have a better sense of what you really enjoy to do, what your passions are, and how you can best do a job or a career that will help really highlight those passions of yours. Right? Too often people get wrapped up in this whole concept of titles and money, and I get it. The more money you have or the more money you can make, the easier your life might be when it comes to paying bills or getting the things that you want. But that might not necessarily give you the happiness or the joy that you kind of seek. It's about fulfilling that purpose that you find and really capitalizing on that. I also want to provide you with some questions to kind of keep in mind, whether it be right now that you're in a career or in a future career that you might want to go into. The first question is, do I enjoy going to work on most days? Look, I get it. We all have bad days. We don't want to go to work 100% of the time. That's okay. But I think it's important that more often than not, we are happy and excited to go to work, right? That makes life so much easier and makes your job a whole lot easier if you are enjoying what you do. So that's the first and most simple question that you can ask yourself is, do I enjoy going to work on most days? So that second question is, do I have a manageable workload? I feel like we all know what stress is like, and stresses can come from just having to do way too much at work, right? Like people just expect too much of you, or you don't know how to say no, so you keep taking on projects. Really make sure you're asking yourself if you have a manageable workload, and you have to know yourself best, right? You'll know when you can do a little bit more, but you also need to know when you need to dial it back and be able to say no to certain projects. So the second question is, do I have a manageable workload? So the third question that I want to ask is, do I feel comfortable speaking to my supervisor? That's a super important question, because how are you supposed to say no to things or be able to not put all these things on your workload when you're not even able to communicate with your supervisor, right? So as you're heading into a new career or you're looking at your current job or a future job, make sure you keep that in mind. Check to see if there's an open communication between you and your supervisor to allow you to feel like you can take that workload off a little bit, or being able to have this communication with them to let them know, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I just can't do all this. And hopefully, when you're able to talk to them, they're a good enough supervisor that they'll be like, oh, I totally understand. Let's see how we can work around that to be able to get you still performing at your best, but not overwhelmed to where you can't even do anything, right? So question number 3 is, do I feel comfortable speaking to my supervisor? Question number 4, which we're kind of diving in a little bit deeper, is, do I have goals? And do I have plan to meet those goals, right? I think it's important to be goal-oriented, right? To have goals for yourself in all aspects of your life. And we'll talk about those in those later episodes regarding the other dimensions of wellness. But in specific to your career, like, do you just go to a job because that's what you're supposed to do and you get money and that's it? It's very difficult to get fulfillment out of a position if all you're doing is clocking in and clocking out, right? Try to develop some goals if you don't have some already. And if you do, make sure that you have a plan in place to be able to accomplish those goals. Because there's nothing worse than having goals just sit there, right? If all you have is goals and you don't have a plan, they're just dreams, right? They're just wishes. But when you're able to have a plan and a structure to fulfill those goals, then you're onto something. So question number 4 is, do I have goals and do I have a plan in place to meet those goals? All right. Question number 5 is, do I look to find more opportunities and experiences to further develop my career skills? If your answer is no, then you're probably not in the right career, right? Or you're the best at what you do already, which if that's the case, then props to you, you're doing great. But I think we all have room for improvement, even if you're the best at what you do, right? Wanting to get better at your job comes from that sense of fulfillment, right? Having that sense of passion in what you do, and having a work environment that overall makes you feel like you want to grow and that you want to get better, right? So make sure, you ask yourself that question of whether you are seeking out opportunities to advance your skills, because if you're not, then that might be a sign that you're not in the right profession. So question number 5 is, do I search out for opportunities and experiences to further my career skills? The last question is, do I record my career-based accomplishments to use in future jobs or career searches? Right? So this is basically your resume building. Do you write those down so that way you can have them in mind, not only for your resume, but for interviews, right? And for just experiences in general that you might have going forward in your new career. Make sure you keep those examples and make sure you keep track of those wins that you have, so that way you can use that experience to get you to a better career or a better job, or just progress you up the ladder in the same profession that you're at now. So like I said, the last question is, do I record my career-based accomplishments to use in future jobs or career searches? So that was kind of a bit of a rundown on what career well-being is, why it's important, and then some questions to keep in mind. So now I want to give you a little bit of my backstory and give you a little reflection that I've kind of come to as far as career well-being goes. So this time last summer, as I've explained before, I started this whole digital media thing. First off with the Feel Good Project, which revolved around the 9 dimensions of wellness. And that's really when I began to think about my career well-being, what I wanted to do as a career, the type of job environment that I wanted to go into. And, that really sparked my interest in wanting to develop this whole Feel Good digital media company, right? So even just being introduced to the concept of career well-being, it got me to think bigger, right? It made me think that I didn't have to go down the path that was already laid out for me, that I could think further and higher than I had ever thought before, because I knew what I wanted from a career, and I knew what type of environment I wanted to be in. And with all that exploration, it kind of brought me down to here, to where I'm at now with this whole digital media stuff. I'm super pumped to be doing all this content and creating this material that will hopefully help others as much as it has helped me. One of the main tips that I will give you for reflecting your career well-being, if this is the first time you're thinking of it, is find a mentor. I have multiple mentors in different areas of my life where I feel like I need the most help in. Because sometimes the best way to get help, or to help yourself, is to get help from others, right? So really utilize mentors. Find the people that will help carry you when you're low, and that will help propel you to that next level, right? If there's a career that you want to follow, or a job that you want to get, try to get a mentor that works in that area, right? So they can kind of help bring you along and kind of teach you some of the things that they've seen through the profession, or because they were at your place at one point, right? So the best way to kind of learn is through other people's experiences, and that way you can just set yourself up for success even more. If you stuck it out this long, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this with whoever you think might need a refresher on their career well-being. We're all here, again, this feel-good fam, to build each other up and share our knowledge with each other. So go ahead and share it with whoever you think might need it. Go ahead and follow us on our Feel Good Digital Media on Instagram and Facebook. So that's all I have for you this week. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and to this first episode covering the 9 dimensions of wellness. I think career well-being is a very important thing to keep in mind at all times, because it is such a large part of our lives, and a lot of people's lives and a lot of what we do does revolve around our job and our career. So having your career well-being in mind is quite crucial. I hope you're able to take something away from this video. Hopefully you learned a few new things, and that's all I got for you this week. So as always, just go out there and feel good. Peace.